always shorting out. Come on, kids. Hey, girls. This way, mamas. Come on, girls. Come here, girls. Hey, mama. Come on, mama. Good girl. Come on, mama. Come on, girls. Come on, kids. No. Come on, mamas, make that corner. Oh my gosh. Come on, girls. Hey, girls. Hey. God, you guys, come on. Come on, you guys have been here before. Let's go. Go, go, go. Go, go, buddy, go. Come on. Goodness gracious. Okay, come on, mamas. There we go. Let's go. Come on, mamas. Keep coming, kids. Good job, mama. My capacity for BS from them is very low this morning. On top of that, I've got a heifer that went back into heat, and originally I wanted to keep them up by the house where they were at because this is that night. This is day 20 or 21. So those that went to the breeder 21 days ago, you know, anyone who's open is going to start coming back into heat. And so I wanted to keep them up by the house just because it'll be easier to watch them and then get them loaded up. But they're too crazy up there and they did some damage to the garden. And it's a pretty small area, and with them chasing each other around to mount each other and ride each other, we have rain coming, and I really just didn't want to tear up that small area. But whatever, if I have to find a way to walk them back up to the facilities, I will. And then I need to decide if that one heifer should go back to the breeder or not. I ended up breeding 6 this year, so more than I have room for. It's a gamble, you know. Do I not take her back to get her rebred and hope that everyone else took, and then I'll have 5 and I'll be happy with that? Do I not take her back in to get rebred, and then a day or 2 later the cows come up open or all the other heifers come up open, and then I end up with, you know, 2 or 1 or none calves next year? I don't know. We'll have to, it's always a gamble. My gut is telling me take her in, get her bred, because you want as many bred going into the winter as possible, just in case there is any sort of embryonic loss or abortion like I had last year or something, just to help. But at the same time, I'm at my max capacity. Oh, buddy, I know. At least we're not also battling pink eye right now. I had big plans for this video yesterday, but like I said, I'm just kind of at my max capacity this morning. I'll show you guys what I'm doing differently this year. This is obviously that 4-acre lease next door. This has been fully recovered. A lot of good extra forbs on it. So the cut plant that they love so much is exploding over there. We've got a lot of milkweed, which they like to nibble on. This dogbane hemp, which is kind of like a version of a milkweed. It's actually supposed to be toxic to cattle. This is a pretty, I mean, there's a lot right here, but I'm not concerned because the grass and the legumes are really strong too. So kind of that, what's the saying with toxicity? The solution is dilution. So just kind of dilute. I know they're going to nibble on this dogbane, but they're going to dilute it with all these grasses. But all right, we actually have to make this pretty quick. I got a lot of red coming in less than an hour. So you guys have seen this before. What I normally do in all of my pastures is strip graze. So, you know, I'll give them enough, move them twice a day, give them enough for the morning, give them enough for the evening and overnight, and then just chop double strand poly wire through the pasture. What I've been running into is, well, for starters, the growth has been so extreme this year with all the rain we've had, that trying to run this double strand through tall, wet grass has not been doing a good job of keeping them in. So the animals have not been respecting the electric wire as it goes through tall stuff. And this actually isn't bad. Again, this is the second time that this has been grazed. And then I just really wasn't feeling like the grazing was, you know, these are very long, narrow strips, and cows are just gonna walk. They're gonna walk back and forth and look for all the good stuff. They're gonna see how far they can go, and then they're really gonna start eating. So they trample down so much, they waste so much on these narrow strips that I feel like I wasn't getting good utilization. So here's what I decided to do this time around. And you'll notice I got a second one of those. I originally didn't like it. Part of why I didn't like it was because I was trying to run this smart fence, Gallagher smart fence system with these 4 wires through grass like this, and actually worse than this, taller than this. And this stuff just, I mean, it wouldn't, I mean, you can see that wire's pretty low. I just was not a fan of it and trying to set it up in that manner. But I really like it for perimeter fence. So it's not necessarily any faster for me as a break fence for strip grazing, because I don't have long stretches, long runs. It's almost just as quick just to run 2 strands and step in posts, the, you know, whatever you want to call it, 200, 250, 300, 400 feet that it is, to break stuff up. But this makes really good perimeter fence. So got one here and I've got one on that side. I'm essentially chunk grazing them. I'm going to call it chunk grazing. So I came through, I've got a strip mode here, which gives me 1, 2, 3, 4, where they're at now, 4 chunks, anywhere from 4 to 5 days worth of grazing at one time. So I mowed the strip so the electric wire will be visible and not be grounded out by wet forage. They are still going to be wandering around looking for their favorite things to eat. Just the natural tendency of cows just to kind of do circles and eat. They're going to utilize this stuff a lot more. The other thing that chunk grazing allows me to do is mow the pastures down after the cows have had access to it. I posted a video one of my first years about my loss of fall stockpiled grazing because I didn't get stuff mowed down before it got all hard and stemmy and pokey and spiky. And so every, you know, July and August, when it's the last graze for that summer, the last graze on that pasture for the summer, I try and get the mower down here. It doesn't always happen. Sometimes it doesn't need it, you know, sometimes they knock so much of it down that it doesn't need mowing. There's a lot of multiflora rose, ironweed, cocklebur, and stuff like that that really should be knocked off at least once a year anyway. But when I was strip grazing, it was really tough then when I pulled the cows off of a strip to bring the mower down and have a shoot. I mean, it could have been an 8-foot wide strip that I needed to mow, or wait and have a 16-foot wide strip. And now it's like every day I'm bringing the tractor down and I'm doing 2 passes and taking it back up. And that's just not efficient use of time or money, truthfully, to fire that thing up for such a short time. The chunk grazing, I had one chunk here, and a chunk here. So I had 3 chunks. It allowed me to, once I pulled the cows off that chunk for good, to mow that all down and then leave the brake fence up. So now they can't go back over there, because with such a large chunk open to them, now they can find shade. Whereas one of the other issues I had with strip grazing is if I back fenced the narrow strips, then there wasn't always going to be shade available to them. The other reason why I was running cows up here was because I obviously have chickens out to pasture right now. And this area, especially this chunk of the front pasture, has just suffered horribly from thistles over the years. I thought, let's try and attack them naturally by, really pounding the ground with chicken action and chicken litter. So what I've been doing is I started up there right behind the garden, and I'm just working my way down and trying to hit everywhere that's really bad with thistles. But I've been mowing beforehand because the chickens don't like, really long pasture grass. Plus that really long grass makes it really tough to get a good shock on this electric net. I thought, instead of mowing fresh recovered pasture ahead of the chickens, let's just let the cows graze. Morning, everyone. Just set up a new grazing chunk. Cows are back here. We just had crazy weather roll through. Oh my gosh, the lightning was insane. And the rain, oh my gosh. I think half of my gravel driveway washed 2 acres down into my pasture. I mean, it's a nightmare. And we've got running water everywhere. The pastures were flooding. I looked out my window down the hill, and it was a dang pond. And then rapids coming off of my driveway, heading down the hill into the pasture. It's a new day. Let me just start by saying it's a new day. It's amazing what some good sleep can do for you. I feel a lot better about life today than I did yesterday. I didn't want that to be my video yesterday, the negativity. It's like we got something down here. Have to fix that. The little paddock behind me here that I had moved them into yesterday, I honestly thought I'd get a couple days out of, but with the amount of rain that we've had, on top of the fact that everyone was chasing that heifer around yesterday and jumping her, dude, they smashed this down really, really good. We're gonna go ahead and move them into the next chunk a day sooner than I wanted to, but I'd rather have healthy, clean animals, because this is gonna get muddy really, really quick, and the flies are gonna start getting really bad. So there's a couple houses that were built up there. There used to be a pond system that controlled all the runoff coming down the hill. But when those 2 houses went up, the ponds were totally changed. It totally changed the landscape. Plus a little bit of it has been degradation from livestock, because this is a tree line. So obviously as the sun works its way across the southern sky coming west during the middle of summer, the cows like to hang out here. So they have definitely smashed a little trail along the fence line. But everything comes down off of those 2 properties. And it's a river flowing. You can't see it very well because of the tall grass, but you get over here. This is the other reason why I have to move them today, because I don't want the cows to really mess this up. All right, let's talk about that heifer that was in heat yesterday. I believe that's her. Yep. I do know she is starving today because all she did was run around and try and fix her problem yesterday. Man, I got lucky, but I think I made the right decision just simply because, so she was in standing heat last night. Yesterday evening, about 7, 8 o'clock, I went down and she was officially in standing heat, which means, you know, within 12 hours, closer to that 12-hour mark, but within 12 hours, she would have needed to be back at the breeder to get inseminated again for the highest likelihood and probability that she would actually be bred. Which means that about 6 o'clock this morning, I would have had to have her at the breeder. Sure, I could have taken her last night and avoided all this, but about 6 o'clock this morning, I would have had to have her at the breeder. It was 5 o'clock this morning that this crazy stuff just started rolling through. So trying to get her loaded in the middle of what we had going on this morning, it just would have been a pain in the butt. And I'm not saying that it's not worth the work to go through, but it was for one animal. Now, if I had multiple heifers or my 2 herd cows that were in standing heat last night or even starting to show signs of heat, AKA they'd probably be standing this morning, which means that they would need inseminated this evening, then I would have absolutely hauled everyone that at the time needed to go. And the fact that it was from the genetics from the cow. I mean, she has 2 other sisters that were bred this year. So I'm hopeful that at least one of the 3, I mean, they say AI is on a good year is 66.6% successful. That's your success rate. So I'd like to think that, you know, that's 1 or 2 animals fits that criteria out of the 3 that I bred this year from the number 3 cow line. Yeah, I'm hopeful that at least one of the 2 left will be successfully bred. So if it was red number 1's heifer, I would have been more likely to just haul her individually. And if it had been either of my 2 herd cows, number 2 or number 3, they definitely would have gotten hauled. The other thing that I thought about last night that just kind of put the nail in the coffin for me, where I'm like, I'm not going to do this for one animal, is my haul withdrawal starts all over again. So, you know, 45 days hauling after insemination or successful conception, essentially. So 2 cycles, two 21-day heat cycles, you know, where you know, okay, they're not cycling, they must be successfully bred. That is like the minimum amount of time before you stress them out, load them up in a trailer, haul them somewhere else. They are so fragile, up to 45 days, but 45 days even. They recommend going 60 days is better, 90 days is best. If I have 5 females that are now all on the same cycle, they're gonna be calving at the same time, do I risk trying to change my hauling period because I have one animal now that's essentially 21 days behind schedule? So basically what that means for me is come, you know, get it into September when they're done with this pasture, they're done with the little meadow, and then they're done with the planted annual 2-acre field up there. They're gonna have to go up the road to the leased pasture. Everyone else, hopefully, will they'll at least be at 45 days, but closer to 60 days. I'll still have that one heifer that got rebred that's now 20-some days behind them that I'll have to leave behind, or I'll haul her with the herd and risk, you know, early embryonic loss. It just wasn't worth it for one. They're scared because I have my coat in my hands. They don't know what to think. That's pretty much it for this video, guys. Like I said, I just didn't want to end on a negative line. So questions, comments, concerns, sarcastic remarks, you know the drill. Leave them down below. We'll catch you guys later. The chickens look like a bunch of drowned rats this morning. I felt so bad. Rain was coming in sideways. Their feed troughs were soaked. And they were wet and cold, weren't you? Yeah, this has been a tough year for chickens.